Hello, my name is Paul Micarelli, and this is my son Paul Giuseppe, and we're here to talk about another episode of Thinking Aloud. And the topic that I'd like to talk about today is religion. And like my last topic, politics, religion can be a very divisive and contentious issue, but like politics, it's very important and an integral part of culture and human society. So I think it's kind of important that, it's discussed. And there's so much to talk about with religion. This is probably one of those topics I'm going to have to keep coming back to. And as my son gets older, it's something that, me and my wife Loretta are going to discuss with him and tell him as much as we can and teach him as much as we can. And me personally, I have studied a lot about religion. It's one of my topics of interest that I, really love to read about and really just love to dive into and study. And there's so much to learn. There's so much wisdom from so many different traditions that, there's obviously been endless books and discussions about it already, but I like to put my thoughts out there about religion and spirituality and what it kind of means to me. And I was raised Christian, Protestant, and my particular worldview was kind of shaped by that experience. I really didn't encounter any other religious thought until I was in college and had a Religions of the World class, which kind of opened my eyes to some of the different philosophies and traditions that are out there practiced by other human beings. But despite all the other information and wisdom that I've gained from studying other religions, I think there's some core things in Christianity that are very important. And I think the teachings of Jesus, when it comes to morality, are some of the most important and fundamental teachings that have been shared with human beings. And I think, it all can be summed up with the golden rule: do unto others as you would have them do unto you, which just means basically don't be an asshole to people. And unless you're like some kind of like masochist or like a sadist and you like abuse, most of the time that means you want to treat people with respect. You want to treat people with love and compassion. And there's a lot that comes with Christianity besides Jesus' teachings that have kind of grown out of the story and the life of Jesus. And some of it I jive with, some of it I don't, as I've kind of grown and matured over the years. And the fundamental kind of aspect of modern Christianity, the idea that you must believe in Jesus to be saved and to go to heaven. I've heard a lot of people's spins on this. Some people use it as insurance policy. They say, well, even if that's not the case, then if you believe it, then at least you'll go to heaven. And I think that's obviously ridiculous, because God would know if you really believe that in your heart. So it's something that I think if you are of that mindset, that's something you really have to believe with all your heart. My question to people who believe that has always been the same, and I've never really had a good answer to it, is, what about people who were born in the Amazon or born on some remote island and they never had access to the teachings of Christianity? How would that affect them? If they've never heard of Jesus, they don't know who Jesus was, they don't know his teachings. Does that ignorance send them to hell? Are they not saved? Their soul has no redeeming quality? And it always makes people scramble into legalities and loopholes, and they find this verse or that verse to try to explain it away. And to me, it's never really satisfactory. I think one of the biggest errors with Christianity and most kind of Western religion is to see God as anthropomorphic, as some personality. It's even, addressed, or when we address God as a he or him with capital H's, you're giving it a masculine kind of identity. And my conception of God, not just talking as a Star Wars fan, is more like the Force. That's why I really jive with Taoism, spelled Taoism, which is kind of like a nature-based, and it's kind of hard to explain. They see God as this force, this power, the creative force that underlies all things, the unity of the universe, that quantum field, if you will, that forms everything. And that's kind of what I jive with. There's a Zen Buddhist saying that nature is not human-hearted, and I feel that way about God. I feel that God isn't something that loves, judges, gets angry. I mean, that's you might as well be worshiping Zeus. God is infinite, this infinite energy, this infinite power, this creative force that permeates from the smallest atoms into the cosmos. It's everything. And that's another kind of what I see as an error in Western thought, is the dichotomy that comes from Descartes, the kind of mind-body division, and also that leads to the division of God from his creation. I see everything integrated. I see everything as one. And the idea of God as this being that is sitting in his throne in heaven and kind of looking down and judging everybody and making things happen. To me, it's, at the risk of offending people, it's kind of childish. Again, why not just, believe in Zeus or, Jupiter, one of the gods of the ancient pantheons. So some people might have a lot of issue with what I'm talking about, and that's your prerogative. If you don't agree with me, I'm not trying to make you believe what I'm saying. And I know that evangelical kind of strains of Christianity and a lot of other religions, they want to obviously spread the word. They think that they have a correct view of spirituality, and they want to share it to help other people on their moral and spiritual path, and that's all fine. I prefer the view of many roads leading to the mountaintop, and that each wisdom tradition has validity, has nuggets of truth in there, and no one book, no one religion, no one teacher has a lock on the truth of reality. Reality is infinite, truth is infinite, and I think limiting yourself by just following one religion or following one teacher, following one holy book, it's does a disservice to you and to God. God created all these things. God is the creative force behind every religion. Allah, Yahweh, God, the Tao, Brahma. These are all just different words for this creative force that underlies everything. And kind of like with politics, people get so caught up in their side and what they personally represent that you kind of push out all other ideas. And again, I think this is a endless universe of infinite possibilities, and to recognize that is just really to recognize the beauty of reality, and to see that mankind and even in its view of religion and spirituality, is very limited. And our viewpoint is just narrow little slice of the infinite. And so to think that we can understand what's really going on and, you know, have some kind of explanation of how things really are, it's a little bit arrogant. And ultimately, I like to say, you know, with respect to God and spirituality, you know, if people ask me what I believe, or do I believe in God, I would say, you tell me what your conception of God is, and I'll tell you if I agree with it. And I just kind of explained my conception. My conception of God is this endless, infinite source of energy that is really all around us. And you know, the closest thing that I can scientifically kind of compare it to is, you know, the unified field theory or the quantum field. The idea that there is just this one big ocean of energy throughout the universe that is constantly ebbing and flowing and creating and destroying and fluctuating, and that gives rise to these patterns that have coalesced over time, and that creative force that complexifies over time and has compounded information, that to me is God. Again, I don't see God as a person, as a being, as something that has emotional responses or human reactions. I think that's our anthropomorphizing, putting our personality onto the universe. And so many kind of errors and faults of religion come from that narrow viewpoint. And like I said, unfortunately, people like politics dig their heels in and feel that their view is right and close off all other viewpoints, which leads to conflict. And we've seen over the years how so many conflicts have arisen due to religious belief and differences in religious thought. And religion is a beautiful thing. Like I said, the teaching of Jesus, the teachings of the Buddha, Hindu teachings, Taoist thought, Jewish traditions that have led to Christianity and then to Islam, and all these, you know, different faiths or practices. It's kind of like a stained glass mirror, and each one is like a facet. And you look at the whole pattern of this stained glass mirror, and you see this beautiful pattern. And just looking at, you know, one facet, you're not really going to get the whole picture. So there's so much to talk about with religion, just like some of these other topics. And I will undoubtedly come back around and expand on this and talk about some other things, but I don't want to go too crazy long on this. So I want to sum it up for now just by saying that I think morality isn't dependent on religion. I think you can be an atheist and still be a moral person, still have compassion, still do what's morally and ethically right. I think religion gives a dimension to morality that is important, and I think believing in some kind of what we understand to be supernatural or spiritual purpose can enhance what, you know, morality we have and those feelings of goodwill towards other people, but it's by no means necessary. And I think that's another error, is to think that you have to be a religious person or follow a religious ideology to be a moral person. And I think that's been proven wrong plenty of times. But again, religion is very important. I credit my religious upbringing with my sense of morality, and I would never knock anybody's religious beliefs if they truly feel that that is what they were called to believe, and if they feel it makes them a better person. That's the important thing, that you feel like it makes you a better person, and there's improve your interactions with your fellow man. And to me, that's really what's important. And also, does it give you a sense of spiritual purpose? Does it make you feel like you're here on this earth for a reason, and that you're here to do good, and you're here to help improve the world and not harm it? So these are some of the lessons I'm going to try to teach to my son here as he grows up, and I will always encourage him to take his own path and to follow whatever religious road that he feels is the best for him. But having the benefit of learned about and studied so many different religions, I can at least give him a foundation of a wide base of thought that he can look at and try to understand, and hopefully use to make his life the best it can be and make him the best person that he can be. So on that note, we're gonna say bye for now and come back later for another episode of Thinking Aloud. And Paul Giuseppe is going to say bye-bye, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.